Sometimes like our scrim opponents wouldn't even show up because they were like oversleeping and stuff like that. So it was pretty like unprofessional. So even just practicing in that environment kind of made me a worse player. And then Academy is like, obviously it's a lot more professional. A lot more teams are like actually scrimming actively.
David Insanity Challe joining us here after another victory, 2 in a row here for TSM. And, you know, so far in the first early weeks, probably the greatest comeback story. Comeback. For those of you who don't know, Insanity had been in the LCS before, has been around the scene for how many years in the LCS and Challenger equivalents?
Total in LCS, a year and a half. Like it was, the half year was kind of a half of a year, so it was like probably the latter half of the season in summer split in 2020, if I remember correctly, and then full year in 2021.
Yeah.
I think I did pretty well for myself in 2021. Honestly, I would say probably like top 5 mid in that year, which is like maybe egotistical, but you know, it's not like I'm saying that I was the best mid laner that year because I definitely had my problems.
Yeah.
I think I've improved a lot on that. Academy, been around since what, 2018 summer, and probably like 3.5 years in Academy total.
So last was it was 100 Thieves next, and then after that, most recently Dignitas Academy,
yes,
right?
Dignitas Academy.
Yeah.
I went from LCS to amateur back to Academy for a year total before they, you know, removed the requirement.
Yeah. Kind of want to get your thoughts as a product of the whole system from tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, back to tier 3, back to tier 2, now back to tier 1. You are one of the few people that are qualified to speak on all of it, not just because it was, you know, for some pros like, hey, I just needed a paycheck or whatever. This is literally a proving grounds for you. How do you feel about the system, the changes, and everything? I know it's a big question.
I mean, I don't want to speak too much on the whole like situation that happened with them removing the requirements, stuff like that. Obviously, I have my thoughts. A lot of them are negative towards the way they went about it, stuff like that. Obviously, I think that they should definitely support the scene a little bit better than they're currently doing.
Sure.
But in amateur, at least, from my experience, it was pretty poor. Like, it seemed more of like, oh, hey, I just have free time. I'm just going to play a game. You know, after that, everybody else is kind of doing their own thing, vibing, whatever. Sometimes, like, our scrim opponents wouldn't even show up because they were, like, oversleeping and stuff like that. So it was pretty, like, unprofessional. So even just practicing in that environment kind of made me a worse player. Not to say, like, I blame it on them. Just, it's hard to improve as a person or a player when you're playing against opponents that don't even decide to play the game or show up on the day.
Yeah.
And then Academy is like, obviously it's a lot more professional. A lot more teams are like actually scrimming actively. There's a schedule based around it. You know, it's not like there's not one in amateur. It's just, it's a lot more like hard focused on actually just playing the game and trying to be better and improving. And then obviously the paycheck was nice. It is what it is. Like I'm not here for the money. It's a luxury. It's just, obviously if I'm playing a game for majority of my adult or early adult life, obviously I would want to do it because it actually provides some sort of stability.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I just want to play the game because I love the game and I love the competitive aspect of it. And I'm just glad I finally have another chance at the LCS because I think I kind of got fucked over and I don't think I should have went from LCS to amateur. That was pretty messed up, but you know, I pushed through it and here I am again. Hopefully I get more time on stage and I don't know, maybe I have a starting spot next year.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably back then in 2021, that was probably one of the biggest changes that I was dumbfounded by, right? I think maybe top 5 is a little high, but I definitely remember you being one of those players where I was like, you should be on a roster somewhere. That was kind of crazy. So I'm glad to see you have stuck through it and learned along the way. And then how did this whole TSM thing come about? Because I think, I mean, I could say this or whatever, like Phoenix was there during Asset Day, so I thought it was going to be Ruby Phoenix, you know, maybe, but then you starting, like what, how did it all unfold that you want to share?
I don't know how much I can share.
Sure.
All I know is I was reached out to during all the what's it called, like the academy system being talked about, like before they made their decision or as they were making their decision after it finally happened. I was talking to them potentially starting as a sub because Ruby's visa would be late.
Yep.
And you know, it is an opportunity. Obviously I had other options to go to in academy, which was what I was looking for or going to go towards if I didn't find a spot on an LCS team. But I also heard that people were trying to go the sub route because a lot of players were having visa issues, right?
Yeah.
The only one that reached out to me was TSM, so I decided it's either this or play an academy and maybe, just maybe, I can make it on Disguised Toast team or something and then stream and get a little bit of a better brand, because I think that's one of the bigger things I lack as a professional right now is my branding. I don't care too much about it, even though I should care. Just, I don't know what it is. It's hard for me to focus on that while I'm playing the game and trying to improve. So I kind of just avoid it, or like don't really want to stream too much because I also don't enjoy solo queue too much, even though I play it 24/7. But anyways, the TSM thing seemed like kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity, not like a huge thing. It just like it gave me a chance to prove myself and just throw myself out there, because even if I just play a couple games and I do really well, obviously more eyes will be on me, and that's what I want. I want people to notice that I'm not just some shit American mid laner, you know? I actually played the game for probably as long as, actually I don't even know who I could compare myself to. I'm not trying to say I'm like fake or anything, just I played the game for 10 years, man. I should be good at it. If I'm not good at it, there's something wrong with my brain. Like, I've been trying to improve for so long, and yeah, I don't know. I want to keep improving and show the world that I'm not just a bad player. I'm a good player, and I should be looked at.
There you go. You know, going from bad brain to good brain. That's always the what we hope to have happen over time. Well, that's fascinating. I feel like there's so many other examples of players who have come and filled in admirably for a player that had visa issues. That's not the case here. How would you rate your performance so far? You said you wanted to show the world that you could be great. You've got 2 weeks now and a couple of wins. What do you feel?
I think our our standing so far should have been either 1 or maybe 2 more wins, honestly. I think the Gragas game, the nerves were kind of getting to me because it was my first time playing in front of a like actual live crowd instead of just like staff members and stuff like that from work. Because in Academy, when they went to playoffs, there were no tickets sold to people, as far as I'm aware. So it was just staff members from both parties. So those weren't like real fans. Those are people I knew or like I've talked to before, so it's not like the nerves are hitting me. But when I played my first game, I was pretty nervous, and that hit me pretty hard. I had a lot of jitters. I was playing like pretty terribly, and I kind of ran it down. But after that, I stepped it up for the next like couple games. I probably could have done a lot better in the C9 game. I think we could have beaten them if I played better. And I think today was my second worst game next to my Gragas game, but we did win, so I'm just glad I can go home on a win today.
Back-to-back Graves games now for you. The week's not over, but first player to pull out Graves mid. The uniqueness of pulling that out as a sub, was that a thing that you talked about with the team, or is that something that you volunteered and then the team kind of rallied around throughout the week?
It was mostly a suggestion from the coach. He suggested it, and then I started playing it, and then I was like, oh, this is actually not that bad. I kind of enjoy this, because I also played it before. And I mean, I've pretty much played every champ in the game mid lane at some point, even in scrims. Like, sometimes my teammates hate me for it. I'll just randomly say a champ, and they're like, you're fucking stupid, man, shut up. And I'll just do it anyway, and then either I'll run it down or I'll prove them wrong, and they'll be like, all right, this champ's OP. But Graves was like a decent pick that I've played for a long time. Not like a lot of it, just picked it up again recently because he suggested it, and the team kind of like coordinated with it or like adapted to it, and it seems pretty good for us, honestly.
There's so many other questions just because you've had such a long career, and I've kind of followed it either through my own amateur casting or every step along the way, scouting back in 2018. But what kept you going? You've got to see a lot of your former teammates or teammates in academy and amateur get their opportunity, and there's a stigma with North American mids. But you stuck with it. You didn't roll swap. You didn't quit. What kept you going?
It's a tough question to answer, honestly. I think there's a lot of stuff that kept me going, but I'm just a stubborn person in a sense of like, if I think I'm really good at something or I have a lot of potential in something, I will just keep at it until either I prove myself right or I prove others wrong, or both at the same time. But I think it's hard for me to step back from it, obviously because I've invested so much time in it, but also because I don't think I would enjoy competitive that much if it weren't playing mid lane, just because I think it's such like a vital role on teams usually, especially in the past. I think nowadays it's like kind of a facilitator to a degree. Obviously you can have your pop-off moments, you can carry the games and stuff like that, but either way it's just such an important role, and that's kind of the role that I want to play on a team. I don't want to be like a support who arguably can be really important in the game, but I think supports are pretty bad generally for the most part, especially at the bottom tier. But I think obviously, I'm not saying all supports are shit or anything like that. I think a lot of the top 5 supports are pretty good at the game, either mechanically or macro-wise, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I guess then finally to close it on out here so I can get you back to your team. TSM has a rabid fan base. Insanity's stock is going up. Speak to the fans. What you got to say?
A rabid fan base? Rabid.
Rabid.
Oh, I thought you said rabbit.
No, Challe.
I'm a rabbit in the Chinese calendar.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
This is your year.
Yeah. Oh, well, is it
I'm highly sure it's your year this year.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry if I was wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's your year this year.
I don't know. Just keep supporting me. and the team. Obviously, not. I don't want this to be about me. It's a team. Whether it's me or Ruby, whoever plays, like just support the team in general. I think this is a really good group of guys, and I think they have a lot of potential, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Insanity, everyone. A journey that hopefully we'll get to continue to see at some point throughout the year. Thank you very much for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
For more, keep it locked here on Dig on Esports, y'all. Like, subscribe. Help me out, man. Help, please. All right, cool. Thanks, dude.